much again. And I guess just to keep the momentum up before the break, we're heading into the next panel. And I think the last panel we had heard from the industry experts in terms of corporate perspective, saying, they said a lot about startups, founders, and things like that. And now we are straight away going to hear from the founders, which includes 3 of them. So we are including Buddhi from Sapia, Fina from NexusMD, and Sam from Butter. And please welcome them to the stage. Team, we need an extra microphone, please. As an extra microphone. And I'll do the passing. I didn't realize our colleagues have, Sam, I didn't realize our colleague had the microphone, so I had to do a torch passing to the audience up there, but now we're having it here. So I'll be doing a torch passing again when we're having the question time. But I guess for the time person, we're starting in 1 second. Okay, sure. So thank you all for joining us here today. And please let us know, simply, who are you? And what inspired you to start your venture? And what problem you are trying to solve with the AI you're using? Thank you. Yes, I'll start. Yeah, sure. Does it work? Yes, it is.
Hi, my name is Buddhi. I'm the chief data scientist at Sapia. Who am I? Well, it's interesting that I am a Melbourne alumni, and that I did masters here like 20 years ago. I took a class called Software Agents 20 years ago from a professor named Professor Leon Sterling. That then got me to do a PhD in software agents. But people those days are like, what are you doing? What software agents? Are you trying to build the Matrix? Like they saw it as a toy problem. But now 20 years later, I feel, yeah, it feels good. Agents are back. A bit about my background. So what are we doing at Sapia.ai? So we are building, we started our journey in 2018. We are building a AI-based interview platform using chat to screen candidates, mainly for high-volume recruitment. So what we are trying to do is to reduce bias and also increase efficiency at the same time, provide candidates with a better experience, because most of the hiring processes are based on resumes, and we know that's broken and we know that's biased. What inspired me to be part of this, because I've been a candidate, I've gone through that journey, I know how hard it is to get a job. Yeah, that's.
Thank you. Fina, please.
Okay, hello. Hi, I'm Fina from NexusMD. And so Andrew has already introduced a little bit about NexusMD. And so I myself come here to Melbourne in the early 2024 to establish this company, NexusMD, together with a few other co-founders. And before that, my background is in the digital health. I worked for ByteDance in the digital health department for several years before this company. And this is my first startup journey. And at the beginning, actually, what inspired our founding team, I believe, is 2023. Everyone feel Gen AI is coming, and we all believe Gen AI gonna change us, gonna change our life, how we study, how we work. And actually, it did. Yeah, so today, I can't do my job without ChatGPT, I would say. So after running NexusMD for 2 years, today if you say what inspired me, I would say, well, I heard a story just yesterday from my colleague. My colleague said, a doctor gave us feedback. Our product helped him to save 1.5 hours per patient. I feel so excited. I mean, that's the meaning of this startup, that we build this company to help doctors to alleviate their admin burdens.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Butter. Buddhi is the operating system for in-person connection. So we help people, clubs, but also brands to find, scale and monetize offline community. Very much built from my own personal experience. So I'm from Sydney originally, relocated up and down the East Coast 5 or 6 times before my mid-20s, and consistently was exposed to the challenge of building community, particularly as you become, you enter your kind of adulthood. There are a lot of macro market factors that were kind of compounding this as well. And so I really have had this idea swimming since probably about 2018, I would say. And, we've had these kind of cultural shifts and market changes and, even global experiences like COVID that have exacerbated this problem more over the last 5 years. And so the timing really is ripe for this type of product. So interestingly for us, we're actually leveraging the speed and evolution of AI to position our product as almost kind of the anti-establishment app, but also actually using AI to solve the problem as well. So kind of a two-sided approach, which is super interesting.
Yes, thank you all for the intro. And I guess, when we talk about founders, it's about starting something. And when they talk about starting something, it's really about the early stages. So during your early stages of each of your ventures, what kind of support made the biggest difference for you guys? And, if notifying this will allow the audience, which is probably 100 entrepreneurs here, to seek for those kind of supports. So what kind of support matters the most for your growth?
Wow. Support comes in multiple ways. I would say, for us, it was the early investors, number one, who believed in what we were trying to do. Because we started in 2018, AI wasn't a big thing at the time. And our approach, any startup is trying to do something disruptive. And in what we were trying to do, it was sort of like, we didn't have anything to show at the beginning. That's how you start anyway. But we had to do a lot of research for the first year or so. It was more like, I thought when I left academia that I've given, that's bye-bye to publishing papers. But in the first year of our journey, we published papers, we went to conferences, because part of building AI for enterprise was also building trust. So we have to kind of build that trust. So investors who believed in what we were doing at the time, and that was a big thing. And it's costly. You had to hire people with the right background, people with PhDs to start their journey. So early capital makes a big difference. The second, I would say, the early adopters, the people who gave us a chance, especially large enterprises who were happy to try this out, who are still with us. And that's a big support. So having those sort of, if we were the innovators, I'm sure there are a lot of innovators here. One thing to remember is, like, if you're doing something really disruptive, figuring out who your early adopters are, that's as important as solving the problem you're trying to solve. Where do they live? Where are they? Who are they in a company? How do you tap into them? So that, and people who are happy to embrace that, that was a big help.
For me, I think at the very early stage, I would say the investment and the community are the most important factors. Like for community, like NexusMD, our company, we joined the Microsoft Founders Hub and also the Google Cloud. They also have startup programs. And we also joined the Activate run by Ant Health, which is supported by the government. And we were introduced to, experts in different fields like product, like designer, expert in cybersecurity and TGA regulations. They are all very important for a startup to keep this business in a good track. And this is very important. And also, as mentioned, the investment is also very, very important. And so except for the money itself and the benefit itself brings, I would say a good investor also give you very strong endorsement when you talk with potential partners, potential clients. They will know if they choose you, that means you're a great company. So that's actually a kind of endorsement, very good endorsement, yeah.
I would take, just to kind of provide an alternative view, so we investment 100%, but we actually started Butter by bootstrapping it. So I started Butter myself while I was still working, funding it myself as well. And that I think was really important for us to actually be able to get investment. So it's very kind of challenging to get investment, particularly in the space that we are in. So speaking with very much a Butter lens. So for us, we needed to almost have those proof points in being able to, you know, really kind of build that grassroots growth and engagement and authenticity to then funnel into getting investment. So I would kind of say, you know, there's potentially more than one path to building a startup as opposed to going straight to VC investment. For us, what was really valuable was teaching ourselves things. So my background's commercial business. I have 10 years in brand and marketing, and knew that I wanted to start a tech company, an AI native tech company, but I started as a solo founder, so taught myself to fill the gaps of the knowledge that I didn't have to be able to bootstrap it. So I taught myself to code, I taught myself to do product design, I built the website myself, that, you know, leveraging platforms like YouTube, Udemy, all of those kind of tools to be able to bridge those gaps and just have a little bit of that hustle to do it yourself, I think is really valuable to be able to grease the wheels. And then alongside that, agree from the sense of those early customers, we spent a lot of time speaking to consumers, understanding what the problem was at a really granular level. And I think for us now, that has served us really well because I now know all of those customers by name. I see them around, I speak to them. If they have challenges, they come to me and we work through them, whether they're bugs or, you know, design requests or that kind of thing. But it kind of builds that kind of inbuilt loyalty from the outset, and it can give you a little bit of flex when, you know, you might have product issues or distribution issues, that they are, you know, a little bit more loyal to you than they would be from the outset. And I think from an organic growth perspective as well, it is really important to build that connection with your audience and not kind of have a hands-off, you know, sales-led approach in that regard.
Yes, thank you very much. And, you know, a lot of us is building product these days, and sorry for adding another selfish question, but this time it's for all three of you. You know, you all mentioned how you interacted with your users, and this is very extending from Sam's response to last question. How do you find in today's era, like with your users, depending on who they are, the relationship between AI company and the users is different to like a traditional company and their consumers? What's the difference do you find in today's world, potentially? Maybe let's start with Sam, potentially, this time.
What do you mean?
So, you know, today's company works in very different ways with the AI. And, you know, is there any changes that this revolution or change bring to the, you know, corresponding customer and business relationship?
I mean, it's interesting from our perspective where integrating AI completely from end to end in how we build the product. So for us, it is, you know, the hook in to actually be able to understand our customers and get those insights and understand why they're doing what they're doing, what's influenced them, how are they thinking about this problem. So I think it's changed it in that sense that we're able to get more of that upfront insight and make more informed decisions. Yeah, that would kind of be the biggest impact for us.
Thank you. Fina?
Okay, for me, I think because I also talk with our customers a lot, I think one of the differences because our customers, they are doctors and they are also standing in the very frontier. So they also know about AI and they are also very curious about AI, and they also ask me questions. Can your AI do this for me? Can your AI do that for me? And so the whole journey is like the doctors, they're very willing to co-design the product with us. And they're very willing to share their ideas with us. And they would like to share us, I think your AI is going to be very helpful in this area. And can I introduce you to talk with them? Yeah, so they're very enthusiastic.
Yeah, I would just put it as maybe pre-GPT and post-GPT. So pre-GPT as AI company, there was an uphill battle in like selling AI. So there's a whole thing we had to educate people on AI. We had to educate them on governance. Most of them didn't have the governance framework, especially when you're using it for a use case like hiring. But post-GPT, there's more of a, now suddenly maybe in the last year or so, there's a pull, because I think CEOs and boards are pushing others to, hey, start using AI. Where are you using AI? So even HR teams are looking at, where can I use AI? So there's more of a pull. And I think the trust, not that trust has gone away, but because they're so used to all the amazing things that all the LLM companies are doing, there's a bit of a more openness towards bringing in AI. But the expectations are high because they see what's happening in the cutting edge and they want the same in every product. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think it's because AI has been used a lot today than the past. So the standard expectations go high accordingly. So in terms of what you said so far, in terms of the support, the building the product, the customer relationships, what is your biggest unexpected or expected challenge, depending on you, in building your company and venture?
Yeah, again, it comes to trust. So when you think of like solving the problem through AI or building a machine learning model or getting the data, but then you realize there's much more, especially if you're selling it to an enterprise customer, much more than that AI piece, like around governance, around building trust of this AI. And ours is a two-sided platform. You have on one side the candidate, so you have to build trust with the candidate, the job candidate. Do they feel that this is the right way to screen people for that job? We call it like face validity. And then on the other side, on the employer side, they need to trust the score we provide. They need to trust the system is not biased. They need to trust that candidates are not dropping out. So all of that is beyond the AI piece. It's like looking at the holistic system. That was not a surprise, but that was one of those things we had to then spend a lot of time on. So early on, we built a framework in 2019. Now AI governance is a thing, but we built our own framework called FAIR, where we define dimensions, how to think about an AI being used in hiring. So we had to do all that groundwork, but now it's good because there are a lot of governance frameworks. Even governments are thinking of governance frameworks. So it's a good thing, but we had to do all that early on, which was beyond just building the actual piece of AI.
Cool.
Challenge, right?
Yes, a challenge. The unexpected or expected challenges.
Okay. From my point of view, actually, during these 2 years of startup journey, I think the biggest challenge for me is like, I realized there is a very huge gap between user and paying user. The way I learned this is when we build the prototype and then we go to the market, we do the product market fit. And I was thinking that if the product is good, the doctor will pay for it. And the doctor will be willing to pay for it if it will save your time. But actually, they do think the product is good. Everybody is saying, you help me save a lot of time. I like your product very much. But if I ask another question, if I charge you $100 per month, are you considering subscribe to our service? Like 80% of doctors, they didn't say no. No, sorry, they didn't say yes. Probably they don't say no in front of my face, but they, they didn't pay me. So that's where I learned the lesson. For a startup, your product just being good is not enough. You need to be good enough that the customer willing to pay. That's where you can say, this product is, you have proved your concept. That's the point, yeah.
Thank you.
I think for us, so we've built a custom ML model to basically move throughout the entire product to drive discovery within the platform, introduce people to each other, inform, essentially kind of a TikTok for you page and how we curate those recommendations and use a proprietary algorithm to do that. But then also from the ops side, the biggest challenge with connection and building ongoing connection is, organizing to catch up and staying in touch, and how do you do all of those things? And so for us, our biggest challenge is leveraging AI in a way that's ethical when it comes to offline connection, but also doing it in a way that's almost invisible. Like a customer just wants to engage with the product. They don't want to engage with an AI agent within the product. So how can we leverage AI to do what it needs to do in an invisible way to kind of sit under our infra layer? Interestingly, we thought, collecting the data points and building that, custom model was actually going to be harder, but it's not. It's actually how we embed it in a really kind of authentic, streamlined way that, doesn't replace interactions, but just, heightens them and makes them easier.
Thank you very much. And I would just like to, the next question kind of extend from Fina's comment on last question. Things like not paying for your product, like people not willing to pay, is very normal on the consumer side. But for founders like you, this could be a setback. And in terms of these kind of setbacks, do you ever feel about like self-doubt or blame it on the limited resources or anything like that? And looking back, what kind of mindset or practical steps helped you to keep moving from where you were?
Okay, because it's my first startup venture, so actually probably different from the other co-founders like Kevin and Mike. They are all serial entrepreneurs. So actually in our first year in 2024, I worried a lot. I worried about what if we didn't have investment? What if nobody want to pay for us? What if we can't do our product as good enough so the customer want to pay? I worried a lot, but until today, actually, we have finished a lot of accomplishment. Like we get our seed fundings. Our product is very good, and I don't know the exact number, but probably several hundred doctors are using our product, and it's saving a lot of huge time for them, and we have our paid customers. So I actually have some learnings here. I will say there is a sentence in Chinese, 不是因为成功才坚持，而是因为坚持才成功. So in English is persistence is not a result of success, but it's a precondition of success. So if I gave up last year, I won't able to see any achievement that we have made today. So I would say if we can keep going deeper into the product, investigate more with our user, then the product will be better. Then one day when you look back, it will be different. That's your mode. Yeah.
Thank you. Anything to add from Buddhi and Sam on this question, potentially?
Well, I mean, if you're a builder, if you're an engineer, it's natural you'll worry a lot about what can go wrong. That's typically how you think. And I think having a co-founder who's commercially minded, remembering that this is a commercial endeavor, not a research project, for us in our case, because it was natively AI, that helped, and being very narrow and focused. So I think you can't do everything. Like especially as an engineer, you worry about all of those things. You want to do all of that, but you can't. You have to be very focused, very narrow, and that helps a lot. And also the people you hire initially. So I had this thing initially that I wanted to hire people with a founder mindset, at least who've done something similar, or maybe a previous founder. So most of the people that joined initially had some of that. They tried something, they knew the challenges of starting a company, so that helped.
Thank you. Anything from Sam, potentially?
Yeah, couple of quick ones. So particularly self-doubt for me normally arises in relation to alternatives. So what if they're building a better product than me? What if they win the market faster than we do? Blah, blah, blah. And so there is one saying particularly around startups in that they're more likely to die by suicide than by murder. And I think that's a really good contextual piece when it comes to competitors. You're more likely to, run out of cash before you get beaten by a competitor. So to think about it with that lens, and that definitely helps me. I think the other piece as well, building a startup, is like climbing a mountain one layer of paint at a time. And it's those kind of everyday incremental steps. It is, a massive task, and I think it can be very easy to get overwhelmed by that, but it's literally one foot in front of the other. You're climbing a mountain one layer of paint at a time. And to your point earlier, when you look back and see how far you've come, that's kind of the contextual piece. It's like, oh, we are making progress. It just, it is step by step.
Thank you very much. And I guess the final question for me here is something very different to what we've been talking so far. So now, I guess, turn off your mode as your roles in your current venture. Switch on the mode of the founders. Try to have a founder instinct. Now try to bet on one of the undervalued or underexplored area of AI or AI tools, and see, pick a side, pick an industry, or pick a direction that if you are starting a new startup from scratch right now, what would it be and why? Yes. What is your ideas? Yes. We're here to listen.
So it's
actually steal some ideas.
well, yeah, it's like going to, like, I don't know, 1999, 98, like the dot-com boom. Everything was about making something web-enabled. I guess there's that happening now. There's like AI enabling things or making things AI native. So anything is possible. But as more being a tech-focused person, I see a big gap in AI evaluations. So eval, what we call eval tools. I think Ed was touching on this in his talk. So I think that's a piece that's there, because in order to, again, build trust, you need proper evaluations. I don't think anybody's got a good solution for it. And I see a parallel between AI evaluations and how you evaluate a job candidate for a job. You have a specific way you'll evaluate a programmer. You have a different way to evaluate an accountant or somebody else. How do you do that with AI? Because AIs are now also very non-deterministic general purpose systems. So how do you build an evaluation framework maybe for each domain that you can bring in, so that you can bring in AI to that specific domain? So there's a great open problem there, in my view.
Any thoughts, Fina?
For me, if let's say just forget about the company, what the company are currently doing, I actually think AI has great potential in mental health. And as the professor just mentioned, in the future, actually, we can have a smaller size large language model which can be used in our smartphones. So I think probably in the future, everyone can have an AI companion robot or AI friend who lives in your phone and who can listen to all your, all the moments you want to cry, and all the moments you feel happy, you can talk with it. And that's my dream. I want to have an AI friend.
I would take a different lens. I think what's super interesting at the moment is the banning of social media for under 16-year-olds in Australia. And I feel like there must be 1 million uni students right now trying to build the next alternative platform for under 16-year-olds. It, for me, just feels like a giant gap in the market. So if you want an idea, take that. But I think in that sense, we can really leverage AI to make social safe for under 16-year-olds, and how we can identify warning signs, how we can pre-screen content, how we can make that a safe space for them. And I think if someone can do that, get government on side, which is probably a bigger task than building that model itself, and facilitate that for under 16-year-olds, I think that's a massive unlock for us just as a society and as humans as a whole.
Thank you very much all for the fresh idea coming out on the spot, and it's very interesting to see what you've said. Like Buddhi's idea kind of echoed with what Professor Ed said. Fina's idea, actually, we had a hackathon challenge on exactly the same thing. So you'll be seeing the demos later. And for Sam, and I personally really agree with the social media, AI and social health, because as I mentioned before, my background is in education, and I feel like that's a really big issue that we need to look into. But after all, I guess time is kind of up today. And thank you all very much for your time and insights for the panel. And thank you very much. Please, we'll probably need a cameraman again to just a quick photo, and thank you very much. Thank you all for being very helpful listeners and attentive audience. And I guess to take a quick breath for both, myself, the host, and all the audience, we're heading into a short break. And just a quick reminder: toilets are upstairs, and the drinks are just right outside the gate where you do the registration. Yes. There's a few toilets inside as well, but you might need to queue for them. Thank you very much. We'll be coming back in 10 minutes around 4. Thanks. Hey, hello everyone. We're starting again in 2 minutes, please. Thank you very much. 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Hi everyone. We're starting very soon. No one's listening. So engaged in chatting as well.
Hello everyone, we'll move to the next part, so please have a seat. And we'll start after 1 minute. Please have a seat. Thank you so much.
Hi, hello everyone. Hi everyone, we're starting right now. Hey everyone.